Imagine, what if this world is merely an illusion? Where does the truth truly reside? And what if the God we believe to be our ruler is, in reality, nothing more than the warden of our prison? Throughout history, many traditions have regarded the Creator as an absolute power. However, Gnostic teachings tell a different story. According to them, the world we live in is not a product of divine creation. On the contrary, it is a false world created by a false god, and this false creator is a figure long concealed and forgotten, Yaldabaoth. Today, we will uncover one of the greatest mysteries of Gnosticism. What exactly is Gnosticism? Why is the world seen as a prison? And most importantly, who is Yaldabaoth, the entity known as the Demiurge in Gnostic texts? What role does he play in mythology, religion, and philosophy? In this video, we will explore the foundations of Gnostic thought, the origins of Yaldabaoth, and his influence on humanity. We will examine the story of Yaldabaoth, a being who believes himself to be the one true God, yet is merely a deviation from the divine order. At this point, you might wonder, if we are hidden from the true God, how can we find the ultimate truth? To answer this question, we must dive deep into the world of Gnosticism. And before diving into the depths of Gnosticism, let's start with a simple question. How real is the reality we experience? According to the Gnostics, what we see and touch is merely an illusion. But why? Gnosticism comes from the Greek word gnosis, meaning knowledge of the self, and aims to reach the true truth. According to them, the material structure of this world is a lie, imperfect, and separate from spiritual reality. This separation is one of the fundamental concepts of Gnosticism: matter and spirit. Matter is limited, deceptive, and a chain that imprisons the soul. The spirit, on the other hand, is eternal, pure, and a divine spark. For the Gnostics, our existence in this world is a kind of exile. Like a prisoner, we are trapped inside this cage called the body. But does this idea sound familiar to you? This is where Plato's famous allegory of the cave comes into play. According to Plato, humans are chained inside a cave, only able to see the shadows projected on the wall. These shadows are merely a pale reflection of reality. For the Gnostics, this world is likewise an illusion, and the soul's true journey to the ultimate truth is obstructed. But who built this prison? The Demiurge, or Yaldabaoth. Yaldabaoth, in Gnostic thought, is a being that emerged from a mistake made by Sophia, a divine being who fell from the divine realm. Sophia is divine wisdom, however. Her momentary error led to the birth of the imperfect being, Yaldabaoth. According to the Gnostic creation myth, Sophia's mistake disrupted the divine order and brought forth the realm of matter. But who exactly is Yaldabaoth, and why is he so significant? Yaldabaoth is a being who believes himself to be the one and only God, but in reality, he is far removed from the true divine. The material world he created is a prison for the souls. And according to the Gnostics, we are the prisoners who have fallen into the trap of this false creator. One of the core ideas in Gnostic thought is this: within us, there is a divine spark, which has no connection to this false world. But this spark has been abandoned and forgotten by Yaldabaoth. For the Gnostics, the only way for our soul to escape this material prison is to attain the true knowledge Gnosis. At this point, you may be wondering, if this world is false, why are we here? According to the Gnostic creation myth, our existence came about as a result of a mistake. Sophia's error created this flawed world, and our souls became trapped in it as part of that flaw. However, according to the Gnostics, don't lose hope, for if we remember our divine essence, we can escape this material prison. In this chapter, We explored the dual nature of the cosmos that forms the intellectual foundation of Gnosticism, its influences from Plato, and how the soul became trapped in this false world. But the story doesn't end here. Are you ready to learn about the birth of Yaldabaoth and how he created the world? Gnosticism tells us that in the beginning, there was a unity, and this unity is called Pleroma. Pleroma is a reflection of the divine and perfection, a realm full of pure light and infinite love. However, within this absolute existence, one day a great fall occurs. This fall begins when a being rejects the divine plan. This being is Sophia. Sophia is one of the highest and wisest beings of Pleroma. Her name means wisdom, and she is defined as a being striving to reach the absolute truth. However, one day, Sophia realizes that she cannot sustain her existence merely with her own wisdom. She does not understand that in order to remain in Pleroma, she must stay faithful to the divine plan. Instead, she desires to surpass the limitations given to her and use her own creative power. However, this desire comes at a great cost. Sophia's error causes her to fall away from the divine plan. The separation drags her into a kind of dark void, a chaos. This chaos gradually gives birth to a formless being, Yaldabaoth. He is a being that Sophia accidentally created, and after leaving Pleroma, he begins to construct his own reality. Yaldabaoth is, in essence, a chaotic being. His birth is shaped by an entirely unconscious and dark force. After Sophia abandoned the divine plan, she gives birth to Yaldabaoth as a being of her own creation, but there is no divine light in his birth. He exists only in darkness, emptiness, and the desire to disrupt order. He does not fully understand what he is and begins to create confusion. The birth of Yaldabaoth is not merely due to Sophia's mistake. The being she created is also a form of perversion. In Gnostic texts, Yaldabaoth's chaotic nature is described as a creator who completely reverses the order of Pleroma. No matter how high and wise Sophia was, her mistake created a great distortion in the creation of the world. With the birth of Yaldabaoth, a divine corruption begins. He sees himself as the creator and decides to establish his own dominion, replacing Pleroma. Yaldabaoth considers himself the only true God. However, according to Gnostic texts, the world he created is inherently a prison. The world reflects Yaldabaoth's dark and flawed understanding of existence. He creates this world in a way that will feed his own ego. He sees himself as the only true God. Yet he lacks the light of the true God. The world he creates is designed to hinder the development of the human soul. Yaldabaoth controls the people through the world he has created. In the world he creates, everything exists to prevent the souls from achieving freedom. Yaldabaoth's world is complex and chaotic, like a labyrinth. He tries to force humans and souls into the order he wants to establish. Everything has a purpose, but this purpose is a structure that is far from true wisdom and serves his own interests. Yaldabaoth's creation stems from his desire to create a self-sustaining universe. Humanity occupies this universe as mere pawns. Yaldabaoth's plans are structured to turn humans into his slaves. In Gnostic texts, Yaldabaoth's process of creating the world is a frequent subject. In the Nag Hammadi Library, these creation stories are told in various forms, but they all share a common theme. Yaldabaoth forces humans to serve his ego instead of liberating them. In Gnostic texts, we see that Yaldabaoth is defined in various ways. Many texts describe him as a dark being lacking pure wisdom. In the texts about Yaldabaoth's creation, his emergence as a false god is emphasized. Completely detached from the true God, Yaldabaoth tries to establish dominion in his created world. Many texts in the Nag Hammadi Library suggest that Yaldabaoth is not actually a being, but rather an empty space that arises as a result of a divine era. He symbolizes chaos born from Sophia's mistake and her unconsciousness. He does not question his own existence or power. He wants everything to operate according to his order and control. These texts help us understand the worldview of the Gnostics. Now, let's dive a bit deeper. What do you think about how Yaldabaoth created the world and what he might have done to control humanity? Are we talking about the existence of just a creator, or is there something more? As a being who separated from Pleroma, what was Yaldabaoth's relationship with the true God? Was Sophia's mistake merely a result of an individual's unconscious error, or does it carry a larger significance reflected in human history? These questions will lead us further into the deeper mysteries of Gnostic traditions. Yaldabaoth was just the beginning. So, what lies beyond him and the world he created? Is it truly possible to find a path to the true God? If our world is nothing more than a prison, what steps should be taken for liberation? And of course, how does Yaldabaoth's immense belief in his own self compare to the God figures in various religions? Is there a meaning behind this? In the next segment, we will expand on the impact of Yaldabaoth, exploring the traces of this false god across religions and what it means for humanity. So, how can we approach the question, who is the true God? Stay tuned because a deeper exploration is about to begin. While Yaldabaoth is described as the false god, in Gnostic tradition, it shows certain parallels with the god figure in monotheistic religions. Gnostics argue that the acceptance of this figure as God by the masses is an illusion designed to deceive humanity. This view particularly resonates within the Jewish, Christian, and Islamic worlds. The figure of Yaldabaoth is sometimes compared to the God figure in the Old Testament. Gnostics critique the Jewish God for his desire to control the people and assert his absolute power. In the Old Testament, God's creation of the world and humanity shares similarities with Yaldabaoth's creation myth. Both Yaldabaoth and the God in the Old Testament established dominance over the world and governed the people through fear, demanding they not go against his will. Particularly in the Old Testament, God's jealous nature is further criticized from a Gnostic perspective. This God constantly demands worship from the people, instructs them to follow the righteous path without sin, while simultaneously threatening them with punishment and destruction. Similarly, Yaldabaoth keeps humanity trapped within the world he created, instilling belief in them that he is the true God, but teaches them that escaping this world or reaching true knowledge is impossible. The most significant similarity between the God of the Old Testament and Yaldabaoth is the principle of secrecy. While Yaldabaoth tries to keep people under his reign, he obstructs them from reaching true knowledge. In the same way, the God in the Old Testament hides certain knowledge from his people, and questioning God's majesty is forbidden. For Gnostics, this reflects the God's self-confidence. Like the God of the Old Testament, Yaldabaoth offers only limited knowledge to the people, preventing them from attaining true wisdom. Gnostic teachings suggest that God created an illusion to establish dominion over humanity. Yaldabaoth's birth is seen as an intermediary who conceals the true God. The concept of the false God is based on the idea that Yaldabaoth only promotes his own existence and power, while keeping people from reaching true knowledge and freedom. This understanding provokes deep questioning within monotheistic religions such as Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. The Islamic concept of God, much like the God in the Old Testament, is described as an omnipotent being. However, from a Gnostic perspective, every religion under the influence of Yaldabaoth conceals the true God and prevents humanity from reaching him. According to Gnostics, the God figure in these religions is merely an illusion meant to keep people in the physical world, and the true God will always be accessible to those seeking divine knowledge directly. In Christianity, the character of the Old Testament God, shaped by jealousy and anger, has been more deeply questioned by Gnostics. The evil and injustice in the world created by God is a theme often emphasized in Gnostic texts. Just like in the creation story of Yaldabaoth, God's attempt to make people submit to his will raises doubts in the Gnostic perspective. Gnostics argue that the teachings offered by God in Christianity restrict the spiritual freedom of humanity. For them, the true God is not discovered through a holy book or religious teachings, but through direct individual experience and spiritual awakening. This forms the core argument behind the definition of Yaldabaoth as a false god. Only an individual's inner knowledge and spiritual experience can bring them closer to the true God. After such a deep critique, what is the impact of the Gnostic perspective on monotheistic religions? How can we draw the line between the true God and the false God? To what extent should we question the world created by Yaldabaoth and the humanity under his rule? What alternative perspectives do Gnostic teachings offer regarding monotheistic religions, and what clues do they provide for one's spiritual journey? In the next chapter, we will explore how spiritual salvation is possible according to the Gnostic perspective, and how we can escape the bondage of Yaldabaoth. We need a deeper understanding of the steps to reach the true God and how it connects to our inner world. What do you think is the way to reach the true God beyond the world created by Yaldabaoth? And is the concealment of God actually an effort to awaken human consciousness? Stay tuned. In Gnostic thought, the human soul is the essence of creation and the cosmic order. However, the human soul, once existing in perfect unity and knowledge, has lost that knowledge and has become trapped in a kind of prison in the world created by Yaldabaoth. Gnostics view this imprisonment in the world, as well as the soul's liberation, as a journey, much like regaining ancient knowledge. But in order to embark on this journey and transcend the illusion created by Yaldabaoth, certain inner transformations must take place. In fact, the world is an illusion created by Yaldabaoth, a hell. In Gnostic texts, life in this world is described as an illusion that keeps the human soul far from its true freedom. Humans are deprived of their inherent divine knowledge, and thus live as souls trapped in the prison of Yaldabaoth. In this world, humanity continuously searches for its freedom and true knowledge, but Yaldabaoth deceives them, preventing them from reaching the divine truth. In the eyes of the Gnostics, the aim of this creative force is simple: to keep humanity under its dominion. Yaldabaoth confines them as mere beings, limiting their ability to truly awaken. Spiritual awakening is a form of remembrance. The world created by Yaldabaoth causes humans to forget their inner knowledge and their true path to God. What needs to be known is that humans are, in fact, free and divine beings. However, in order to remember this truth and break free from this imprisonment, humans must reach the direct knowledge of their essence. Spiritual knowledge and the key to salvation in Gnosticism. The concept of Gnosis, hidden knowledge, is one of the most crucial keys to spiritual salvation. Gnosis is not merely intellectual or rational knowledge. Rather, it is spiritual wisdom and inner enlightenment. Gnosis refers to the discovery of the divine spark within oneself, the knowledge that guides one to the true path. In order to transcend the world created by Yaldabaoth and reach the true God, a person must first undergo an inner transformation. This transformation is the process of realizing how everything in the external world contrasts with the person's true nature and spiritual being. Gnostics believe that through this process, the individual will discover their true self. Many Gnostic texts focus on the challenges and suffering of this journey as humans, trapped within the artificial world created by Yaldabaoth, struggle to find themselves. Salvation is only possible by directly experiencing and grasping this knowledge. In order to transcend the boundaries and obstacles imposed by Yaldabaoth, one must first understand their true nature. According to the Gnostics, reaching the true God means rediscovering the divine essence within oneself, the divine spark and the freedom of the soul. According to Gnostic thought, every human being contains a divine spark. This spark is a reflection of the person's true nature and can only emerge with the right knowledge. This spark symbolizes the inner awakening of the soul, the transcendence over the world created by Yaldabaoth, and the path to freedom. Spiritual freedom is achieved by discovering inner knowledge and living according to it, independent of the external world. The illusion created by Yaldabaoth prevents humans from reaching this inner spark. However, Gnostics argue that when one attains true knowledge, they will discover the divine essence within, overcoming all obstacles and achieving freedom. Spiritual freedom, according to the Gnostics, is not just a belief, but an experience. In seeking this inner spark, one must surpass the visible surface of the world and question everything with a metaphysical perspective. Looking at the world only through its external appearance misleads the soul. In order to reach true knowledge and inner freedom, one must transcend the external world. Modern Gnostic movements and contemporary interpretations of Yaldabaoth, Gnosticism is not merely a thought system that existed in the ancient world, but has also inspired various interpretations, practices in the modern age. Gnostic teachings continue to be explored by many today. Particularly, the quest for individual spiritual freedom and inner wisdom attracts many people in modern society. Today, many who wish to transcend traditional religions and explore spiritual knowledge find value in Gnostic teachings. So, how can we recognize the world created by Yaldabaoth before embarking on the journey of spiritual freedom? Is spiritual awakening solely based on ancient wisdom, or can it be discovered in today's world as well? What inner tools do we possess to reach the true God? Do you think it is possible to escape the illusions created by Yaldabaoth in today's world? Do Gnostic teachings have relevance in today's society? Today, we delved into the depths of Gnosticism and embarked on an important journey to explore the false world created by Yaldabaoth and the freedom of the human soul. According to the Gnostic perspective, Yaldabaoth, the world, and its order are nothing but illusions. However, reaching the real God and spiritual freedom requires an inner discovery and spiritual awakening. On this journey, Gnosis, or inner wisdom, is the key to spiritual freedom. All of these teachings are part of the human journey to the truth. Gnostics call upon us to remember our divine spark and transcend the boundaries created by Yaldabaoth. But remember, this is not just an idea, it is an experience. The true God and real freedom can only be achieved through an inner exploration, independent of the external world. At this point, the question we need to ask is this: if the world is an illusion, how can we find the truth? Does each of us have the power to find the divine spark, freedom, and wisdom within us? What must we do to truly attain liberation? As Gnostic teachings and traditions seek answers to these questions, they remind us that each of us must embark on our own journey. Thank you for watching this video. If you wish to continue exploring this topic in depth, Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Also, feel free to share your thoughts and questions about this video in the comments. In our next video, we will explore how we can achieve spiritual awakening and transcend the illusions of Yaldabaoth. I wish you success on your Gnostic wisdom journey.